Well, everyone, this is the True Texan back again. And, well, this one, TYT basically just did a BuzzFeed. This is a extremely clickbait title. And it's just really... Church arson suspect arrested. You won't believe who his dad is. That's BuzzFeed level clickbait. Okay, which is not surprising. I mean, TYT and BuzzFeed, they're not that far off. And again, I just skipped the ads. If you don't believe me, you can look at their video. It's just an ad right there. And, well, let's just hop right in this. I have not seen this yet. But this is clickbait. It's probably not a shocker.
Son of a sheriff's deputy in Louisiana.
The son of a sheriff's deputy. I'm pretty sure that's the answer. God damn. Wow. That's the you won't believe? I believe it. Oh man, if anyone if anyone is shocked at this, I don't know. Honestly, my first instinct was probably going to be like the pastor's son or something. But either way, I'm not shocked.
Has been charged with setting fires at historically black churches. This story is out of control. The churches had been set on fire. The stories had been coming out little by little. And there was this big question as to who was behind it. And again, it turns out it's the son of a sheriff's deputy. In a press conference, St. Landry Parish Sheriff Bobby Goudreau said that the report was incorrect because initially it was reported that he had turned his son in, but that is not the case. Goudreau said the suspect's father, quote, helped facilitate the arrest. He got the suspect away from home and had, quote, no knowledge of his son's activities. So while he didn't know that his son was doing this, once he did figure it out, he did help in the arrest of his own son. And I wanted to point that out to you. So the sheriff's deputy here is not a bad person. It's just crazy that the son of a sheriff's deputy did this. Also, he's been charged with 3 counts of simple arson of a religious building. The maximum penalty for each count is 15 years in prison. And Holden Matthews is the name of the suspect here.
Well then, look at that. 1 minute and 30 seconds in, and they just stayed with the facts. How about that? Okay. That's pretty good. I'm gonna guess, like I said, I haven't seen this yet. I really haven't. Jank is gonna start talking. And then things are gonna start getting opinionated. And then the lights are gonna set in. That's just my guess.
Another racist right-winger does attacks in America.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! Okay, first off, are you sure it's just a racist? Like, they're historically black churches, but are you sure that doesn't automatically mean that he was doing it because they were black? They were churches. He could have been just burning down churches because he was anti-religion. We don't know the motivations yet. We got little information. So to jump on this like that, it's just wrong. And secondly, no. Racist right-wingers attacks are rare in America. They are so rare that y'all make up attacks on multiple occasions and y'all jump on so many that just end up false. Okay? Yes, there are real racist right-wing attacks. But whenever you call all the fake ones out, and then whenever a real one comes out and you try to use it to attack all right-wingers, guess what? It creates more right-wing extremists, and it justifies more right-wing extremists, and it makes people not believe you when there is an attack. It literally pushes people towards the direction you don't want them to go. Your smug ass little look. Look how smug he is. Thinks he's on top of the world. Thinks this. Dang, you're so smug. Don't you talk about like how right wingers are too smug? There you are being smug right here.
To be fair, I don't know what his political ideology is.
Look at Anna being reasonable. Can you believe that?
Burn down black churches. I got news for you. He's not liberal.
He might be liberal. In fact, there are lots of racists on the left that you like to ignore. A whole lot of racists on the left that you ignore. He could be a liberal. Could be a progressive. I thought y'all weren't progressive. I thought y'all weren't liberals. So who fucking cares if he's liberal or not? I thought y'all were progressive and not liberal. I thought there's a huge difference. Either way, like I said, you don't know the motivations. There's still multiple lists of motivations. Just because racism is one motivation that's possible doesn't mean it's always the case. Case in point, Jasmine Barnes. Case in point, the Jussie Smollett case. Case in point, all these other stuff in your video that you jump on, racist attacks, and then you get proven wrong.
No,
okay, so Anna's doing the right thing by saying technically we don't know. Okay, but
it is the right thing. He might have absolutely no political ideology at all. He
might just be racist, but not care about politics.
That's what I'm saying.
See, Anna's correct here. He might just be racist, not care about politics. He might just be anti-church. There's lots of different possibilities. Okay? You can't just jump on the all right-wingers train, Chank. Anna's actually learning. How is Anna the reasonable one here? How? How is Anna the reasonable one? Okay? Anna has finally learned not to jump on the racist train on the racist right-wing hate train every single time there's an attack against a black person. Okay, she's learned that. You haven't, Shane. You're over here saying, "Well, technically we don't know, but we do know." Like, seriously? Why aren't you like that with Jussie Smollett? Because the facts show that Jussie Smollett faked the hate crime. Yet you just go, "Oh, but I don't know. I don't know." Right? And then whenever there is anything that could be a racist hate crime, you jump on the bandwagon immediately. And then if it's wrong, you go, "Well, we didn't know. We were just speculating. There's nothing wrong with speculating. And the facts pointed in that direction." No, the Jasmine Barnes, it did not point in that direction at all. Yet he said racism. Just stop, Jank.
Like, we don't know what he identifies as, so I don't want to needlessly call him anything. You know what I'm saying? He's a terrible person, and he set these churches.
He's a terrible person. Don't need to call him anything until we know exactly what he is.
On fire. Luckily, there was no one in the churches at the time that he did this, so no one was hurt. And luckily, he got caught, and he will face, the consequences for this.
Will you agree with me that if he was Muslim, we'd already be calling him a terrorist?
Of course. We wouldn't be calling him a terrorist.
Really? Really? Oh. How did you get into that? How? He's a horrible racist person. We don't know what his motivation may be. If his motivation was to enforce a political ideology through terror, then yeah, he's a terrorist. Yes, it goes with Muslims. And when a Muslim attacks a Christian church, obviously that's terrorism. When a Christian attacks a Muslim church, that would be terrorism. But whenever someone just burned down a church and we don't know the motivation and we don't even know what he is, then how can you call it terrorist right out the back? You can... A Muslim burning down a Christian church. Obviously terrorism. Obviously terrorism. Oh, we wouldn't be calling it terrorist? Really? Then what else would it be if a Muslim goes and starts attacking Christian churches? You don't know. Exactly. If a Christian started randomly attacking Muslim churches, like what happened in New Zealand, just as rightly, he would be called a terrorist. Well, he wasn't even a Christian, though. The guy who attacked the New Zealand, he was not even a Christian. But an example, he attacked the Muslim churches, and he wasn't even a Christian. He was an atheist. Yes, he was rightly called a terrorist by multiple people. You want to go and lie and say right wingers didn't do it? Ben Shapiro called, Fox News called him a terrorist. That everyone in Daily Wire, every right winger I can think of called him a terrorist. Okay. So you can lie and say right wingers didn't call him terrorists when in fact they did. This is a man. In order to call it a terrorism, the motive terrorism is using terror and violence to enforce political or religious ideology. If we don't know who he is or what his background is, how can we jump on and call it terrorism? If it's a Muslim, yes, you can easily assume it's terrorist. Just because Muslim burning down a Christian church, or like anyone, a Christian burning down a Muslim church, you can kind of call that terrorism because that would be pretty obvious. This might be terrorism, it might not be. He might just be a messed up kid. Who knows? You can't just jump on shit, and you can't just go and say, oh, Muslim burns down Christian churches? That's so not terrorism. Really? Fucking asshat.
Right, but
All the media.
everyone would be calling him a terrorist, and of course there would be all sorts of speculation as to what his background is.
Right.
Well, I mean, if it was a Muslim, we would know what his background is. He's a Muslim. And then, yes, we would have some speculation because we have Muslims are the number one terrorist organizations. They are the biggest cause of terror. So we would speculate. Is this more terrorists coming from ISIS? Is he part of a group? That would be nice to know. I mean, I'm pretty sure if it's just a guy putting down churches, he probably wouldn't be part of a group. He might just might have just seen something and just decided to. He probably converted online. If I had to guess, this person it was probably something that had to do with someone he met online, or some video he saw online. Okay, I don't know if he's probably not a Muslim. I don't know why y'all just go and call him Muslim. You want to be accurate in how you pronounce things? Well, guess what? The Muslims call themselves Muslims. Now, if a Muslim burned down Christian churches, we would have some background already, and we can figure out what it is. We have nothing on his background. We don't know what his religion is. We don't know what his political party is. We don't know anything right now. Literally, any speculation you do is a dart against the wall. There's nothing to go on right as of right yet. Okay? If he was a Muslim, you'd have something to go on. You can speculate. If it was a Christian that shut up a Muslim church, again, you'd have something in his background so you can speculate. And then when it comes to Christians, there's typically not Christian terror organizations. Like, the only ones you can think of are, like the KKK? The group that is so tiny, they have, like, no influence. But you could probably speculate he's probably the KKK, whatever. Nothing. How are you trying to turn this into Muslims are victims? Christian churches were burnt down, and now you're just calling Muslims victims. Nice.
So again, I don't. There are no progressives burning down black churches. That's not a thing.
Really? Progressives are the biggest racists in America. Whenever a progressive burns down a black church and it becomes big news, I'll be sure to link y'all the video, because what about the progressives who attack white people? Because that's a thing. That is a thing. And, well, y'all are just assholes.
So maybe he just randomly hates black people and is super racist, but has no other political opinions. Theoretically possible.
Like he's in a band, heavy metal band, and I don't know. We don't know anything about his politics. That's all I'm saying, right?
Okay, I hear you, and we're doing the show together, so you're getting all that both perspectives. She's giving you the facts. I'm giving you my perspective on it. So
okay. I guess that's correct.
Anyway, thank God they caught him. I want to give a little bit more credit, not only to the dad who helped facilitate the arrest. Obviously, he also wants to make sure his son doesn't get hurt while getting arrested. But mainly to the authorities that looked into this and found the culprit.
Yes.
So what we're mainly concerned about is systemic racism and whether there is...
Systemic racism isn't a thing. Sorry. What law oppresses black people? There is none. What law oppresses any race? There is none. The only type of racism there is, any type of systemic racism you can come up with is, if you really think about it, racism against whites. Because there's scholarships for just being black, scholarships for just being Indian, scholarships for being every single race except whites. There is no systemic racism against minorities. When it comes to laws, white people suffer the most from it.
injustice by the government, because that's...
Injustice by the government? Okay, so the government oppresses black people. Is that why we had a black president? Oh, they oppress Muslims. Is that why we had a Muslim in Congress? My God, there is no right that any minority has. No, that there's no right that a white person has that minorities don't have. None. There's nothing that the government's doing to oppress the minorities. Okay? Nothing.
Our government, and there's something we can do about it. In this case, that didn't happen. So there was not systemic racism. There was a racism with the guy who did it, unless, again, there is one other 1% possibility that he's like, man, it'd be so cool to burn down churches, and golly, gee, I accidentally did 3 black ones I didn't know, right? Theoretically possible, not.
Yeah, like I said, it's possible he's just burning down churches because he's anti-religion. Because that's a thing. And then if there's a lot of black churches around, yeah, I'd probably burn 3 black churches.
Likely, but either way, the authorities didn't do anything wrong. They did everything right. They found the guy. They arrested the guy, even though he was the son of someone in some degree of power at the sheriff's office. So, great job. Now, more about how you can save 75...
This video nearly went off the rails. I can't believe I'm saying this, but thank Anna, whatever her name is, for it being not off the rails.